Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can be alerted when new content is released. Enjoy the video.
And the constant firing and wiring, making the brain work in the same sequences, the same patterns, and the same combinations over and over again, begins to create a very finite signature in the brain. How many people in this audience, just curious, believe in the idea that the way you think has some effect on your life? Just curious. You do. So you believe on some level that your thoughts have an effect on your life, yes? So you think 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day. 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before. So what is the likelihood of something happening different in your life if 90% of those thoughts, conscious or unconscious, are the same thoughts as the day before? Because the same thoughts will always lead to the same choices. The same choices will lead to the same behaviors. The same behaviors will create the same experiences. And the same experiences produce the same emotions. And those same emotions drive your very same thoughts. And your biology, your neurocircuitry, your neurochemistry, your hormones, and even your genetic expression is equal to how you think, how you act, and how you feel. And how you think, how you act, and how you feel is called your personality. And your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. So then if you want to create a new personal reality, a new life, then you're going to have to start changing your personality. How many people are with me? Come on, London, yes? You see, most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it doesn't work. You literally have to become someone else. So there's a principle in neuroscience that says that nerve cells that fire together wire together. And if you keep thinking the same thoughts, making the same choices, demonstrating the same behaviors, creating the same experiences that stamp the same networks of neurons into the same patterns, all for the familiar feeling you call you, to reaffirm that identity, over and over again, you begin to hardwire your brain into automatic programs. And by the time you're 35 years old, this is science now, 95% of who you are by the time you're 35 is a set of memorized behaviors, automatic habits, emotional reactions, beliefs, perceptions, and attitudes that function like a subconscious computer program. And the constant firing and wiring, making the brain work in the same sequences, the same patterns, and the same combinations over and over again, begins to create a very finite signature in the brain. And that finite signature, the most commonly fired, neurologically wired set of thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through frequent repetition, is the habit of yourself. And a habit is when you've done something so many times that the body knows how to do it better than your mind. And so 95% of most people, they are unconscious 95% of the time. And I assert, if you're not in the present moment, you're running a program. So then, in order for you to create a new personality, the first step is you've got to think about what you've been thinking about and change it. Would you agree? Come on, London. Poke the person next to you. Come on, give him a little poke. I know that's not British, but give him a poke. You got to become aware of your unconscious habits and behaviors and modify those. And then you have to look at those emotions that keep you anchored to the past, that you wear on your sleeve. And you have to decide if those emotions belong in your future. You see, most people trying to create a new personal reality as the same personality find out that it doesn't work, because they're thinking the same thoughts, performing the same actions, living by the same emotions, but secretly expecting their life to change. But would you agree with me then? New thoughts, new information, new knowledge should lead to new choices. And new choices should lead to new behaviors. And new behaviors should create new experiences. And new experiences should produce new feelings and new emotions. And those new feelings and emotions should inspire new thoughts. And that's called evolution. But you see, the hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. That's the hardest part. And you see, if 95% of who you are is a set of unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions, and the moment you start becoming conscious of those unconscious thoughts, the more aware you are of them, the less unconscious you go. And every single person in this room, at some time in their lives, has done something great. And you know, the problem is that the brain is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain is a record of the past. It's an artifact of everything you've learned and experienced to this moment. And if feelings and emotions are the end product of past experiences, and you can remember experiences better because you remember how they feel. If you're feeling the same way every single day, doesn't that mean nothing new is happening in your life? And if those emotions are driving your thoughts, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, are you thinking in the future? Or are you thinking in the past? Come on. The emotion is a record of the past, and those emotions are driving your thoughts, then you're thinking in the past. And if you told me that you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, the law still applies. But you're keep creating your past over and over again. Are you with me still? Come on, is this too much for you? Take a breath. So then, reason this with me. You keep thinking the same thoughts. You turn on a set of circuits in your brain. You have an insecure thought. You have an unworthy thought. You have a self-depreciating thought. You turn on different networks in your brain. You produce a level of mind. Another part of the brain makes a chemical that makes you feel unworthy, insecure, or self-depreciating. The moment you feel those emotions, the brain is checking in with the body. And the brain begins to generate more corresponding thoughts equal to that emotional state. And all of a sudden now, it makes more chemicals for you to feel that exact same way, and then you think more corresponding thoughts equal to your feelings. And then you say, after 20 years of that, I am insecure. Because thoughts are the language of the brain. And feelings are the language of the body. And how you think and how you feel creates a state of being. And a state of being is when mind and body are working together. So whenever you say, I am anything, you are commanding your mind and body to a destiny. Now here's the problem. The redundancy of that cycle over and over again, 20 or 30 or 40 years, conditions the body to subconsciously become the mind of that emotion. And now the body is the mind. And the body, as the unconscious mind, does not know the difference between the actual experience in your life that creates the emotion and the emotion that you're fabricating by thought alone. To the body, it's exactly the same. So the body is believing it's living in the same past experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The body is enslaved to the past. And if the body has become the mind of that emotion, the body literally is in the past. And you can't create a new future holding on to the emotions of the past. Are you with me still? And so then, all of you have done something great in your life. And when you decided to step outside of your comfort zone and take a risk in the unknown, the moment you made that decision, you started to feel uncomfortable. Because the moment you leave the familiar feelings and habits and step into that unknown, the body that's been conditioned to be the mind emotionally can't predict the future. It would rather hold on to its guilt than step into the unknown. It's entirely possible that you judge yourself and judge others all day long and don't even know that you do that because it's a subconscious program. Some people would rather cling to their unworthiness than take a chance and possibility. And they will argue for their limitations the entire way. But the moment you make a decision to change the way you think, to change the way you act, or change the way you feel, get ready. Because you are going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel unfamiliar. There's going to be some uncertainty, and you're not going to be able to predict your future. And the moment you make that choice from the old self to the new self, you just stepped into the river of change. And the body, which has been conditioned to be the mind, where you said, I'm not going to complain, I'm not going to judge, I'm not going to make excuses, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. You made all those decisions in the morning. And things went really well for about 3 hours. But the body is craving those chemicals just like an addict because it's addicted to those emotions. And the body starts sending signals back up to the brain. And it's trying to unseat you, to return back to safety, to the familiar territory. And you start to hear these sub-vocalizations in your head. You start to hear these thoughts, these voices, and they say, why don't you start tomorrow? Tomorrow's a better day. You're really tired. This isn't going to work for you today. It's my ex-husband's fault that I'm this way. It's my mother's fault. This doesn't feel right. That's the body sending signals back to the brain. And if you respond to that thought as if it's true, that thought is going to lead to the same choice, which is going to lead to the same behavior, it's going to create the same experience, and it's going to produce the same familiar feeling called you, and you're going to say, this feels right. It feels familiar. You see, going from the old self to the new self is the neurological, is the biological, is the chemical, the hormonal, genetic death of the old self. People who say to me, I'm in the river of change, I'm in the unknown, I'm in this void, I can't predict my future, I always say the same thing to them. The best way to predict your future is to create it.